Harlem, February 21st, 1965. Malcolm X, better known as El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, was gunned down in the Audubon Ballroom.
I was sitting in the Audubon Ballroom over on the right-hand side. I was there when the commotion broke out. Two men stood up and he was saying, "Get your hands out of my pocket."
Apparently, two men approached the speaker's rostrum and discharged shots at him from apparently very close range.
There was no way he could have escaped that fusillade of bullets that had rained down on him.
Brother Malcolm was executed.
One suspect was wounded and apprehended at the scene.
I watched these shooters. I saw them when they ran out of the ballroom. I heard the shots that were exchanged with Reuben Francis. And when I came downstairs, I saw the crowd pulling and tugging at Hager. And the police were trying to get him loose from the crowd. And the police fired their pistols and the crowd fell back. And the police grabbed Hager and threw him in a car and took off.
Investigations led police to two other men. One, Norman Butler, the other, Thomas Johnson.
Where were you the day Malcolm was assassinated?
I was home.
Butler and Johnson were not at the Audubon Ballroom that day.
I was home with my family. You know, I just got out of the hospital.
If Butler and Johnson were there, they could only be there if there were people who were part of our security force who had to have recognized them but said nothing and let them be there, and they were able to do what they are alleged to have done.
I found out by my neighbor who told me to turn the TV on, and they was carrying Malcolm on the stretcher across the Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. And the results of that, I wound up doing 22 years for watching the TV.
This brother did not get justice. He spent 22 years of his life in prison for something that he did not do.
If I did do that, you was with me. We planned it together. If I'm guilty, you have to be guilty. I don't know where you was at that time, but you would have to be guilty according to the way that went down.
But despite the lack of material evidence, witness testimony, as well as the speculations of FBI involvement, these two men were convicted in a connection with the murder of Malcolm X.
There were rumors of all kinds of infiltration.
There had to be powers involved in this.
All kinds of rumors went around that this person and that person was snitched for the police and was working with the FBI and so on. And the FBI deliberately planted those rumors.
It was so perfect. You couldn't have planned it more perfect.
And after serving over 2 decades in prison, Thomas X, a.k.a. Khalil Islam, maintains his innocence and denies any involvement in the killings or the conspiracy to assassinate Malcolm X.
Are you innocent of killing Malcolm X?
Totally.
And I know this brother didn't have anything to do. If he had anything to do with the execution of Brother Malcolm, he did it by remote control, but he was not in the Audubon Ballroom.
They couldn't have been there. I don't see how they could have been there.
They had to know that I wasn't there. They knew I wasn't there.
This brother over here spent 22 years of his life in prison for having done something at the Audubon Ballroom, and he wasn't in the Audubon Ballroom.
Now it's almost 43 years later. I don't expect to, because people was telling me, you better leave that alone. They're gonna bust you and put you back in the prison. But I talked to people, man, who I have a lot of confidence in, and they said, man, go ahead and take care of that.
I contacted him and I said, you know, anything I can do to help you exonerate yourself from this charge that has been maliciously made against you, I will do.
What is the importance of you being exonerated for you?
What is the importance? My God, get my life back, get my freedom. And I want the people to know, man, the tragedy is this injustice.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power.
We're going to rewrite history.